Hey, my name's Nate Guinane. I'm a 26-year-old real estate investor. I'm making this channel here just to help people who are trying to get started in real estate, whether they have money or have no money. You can get started either way. I started with basically no money when I was 19 years old. Like I said, now I'm 26. I'm full time for the last 4 years. I built up a portfolio worth around $600,000. That's my equity position in it. The portfolio is worth a bit more actually. So anyway, today I'm just going to talk about how I got started and kind of where I'm at now. So initially, how I got into real estate. I wanted my own business ever since I was in like eighth grade. Um, and I just never knew what business that would be. So I always was trying to think of a business. Right out of high school, I got a job at a car wash, and I was also attending community college. I was going into economics and finance, and the only reason I was going to college was because I didn't know what business I wanted. That degree was really just basically for my mom. I I knew I always wanted to work for myself, and I just didn't have the idea. So I one week I came up with this list that I've been thinking about businesses, and I put them on paper. I always wanted a business that was always in demand. You know, no matter what happened, people always need your product. So on there, I had like energy, resources, materials, water, anything you could think of. And then one of them on there was real estate. And during this time, I was reading. I read a lot of books, so I was reading a lot of self-help books, motivational books, goal setting. You know, Rich Dad Poor Dad. And a lot of these books, even though they weren't about real estate, they mentioned how many people get rich in real estate, and that it was the number one thing that created millionaires in this country. So in the back of my head, it was always like a real good thought. So when I put these on paper, within the matter of days, I just said, all right, I'm gonna pursue real estate. And what I did that week is I just went out and I got as many books as I could on the topic. Maybe I got like three or four from my library. And read them. And mainly, I was reading them in the back of my car wash when no one was coming through. I was a dryer, so I was at the back of the car wash. Cars would come out, I'd dry them. And there were a lot of days there, especially in the warmer weather, where you only do 50, 80 cars the whole day. And it gives you a lot more time than you'd think. And I just put it to use reading books. Mine were all real estate focused. While I was reading these, by the way, I was buying and selling phones and Nintendos and anything I could to make as much money as I could. I'd save everything. I was really frugal. I still am. Um, but so I was doing all that just so I could have as much capital as I could to start the business. So after about 6 months of reading these books, and I was also analyzing anything I found that was up for sale. So anything that was for sale, I was putting to use everything I was reading. So I'd find a house, say it was listed for 35,000. I put it on paper, figure out what the rent should have been. Try to guess my rehab. I wouldn't go through the house. I would just guess some rehab money. Say I need a couple $1,000s. Wrote it all in, figured out like this how much I can make a year. This is what I want to buy it at. And I'd go even further. I'd say, all right, well, if I bought that, then after X amount of time, if I bought this one, I was trying to build a 20 unit portfolio, having 20 houses. So all I would ever think is, how do I do that? Like, how many houses do I need? How many months do I have to hold them until I can build up X amount of dollars to go buy another one? At the time, I didn't know much about private investors or anything about raising money. So I thought you needed the money yourself. And I knew you could borrow money, and I thought only from family or close friends. And so, like I said, mainly I was trying to self-fund this all. So after, like I said, 4 or 5 months, I actually started asking to go see these houses with a realtor that I knew. And he took me through about 10 or 12, and I made a couple offers. And the reason I was comfortable making these offers is I approached a few people I knew, trying to get someone who would say like they'd be open to giving me, like, lending $20,000 to $40,000 to buy a house. And I would fix it up with my own money and whatnot. And going into these conversations, I was very nervous. So in my opening proposal, I said, if I buy a house, you fund the acquisition, I'll rehab it, I'll do everything, I'll put up all the repair money, I'll pay you every single month. And what I told them is I would pay them the whole rent amount every month. So the day it got rented, they got the month's rent, and every first day of the month after that, they'd get the month's rent. And I said, if the renter stops paying me, I'll pay you. Because, I basically I was pretty much guaranteeing it off my wage at the car wash, because I knew I'd make enough to cover someone else's rent. So I was living at home at the time. and all that. So anyway, they said, yeah, they'd be really open to it. So I went out to find these houses, and I made offers on 3 or 4, and I always got beat out. And then the 13th house I found was about $25,000. Or no, it was $15,000. I bought it for 25. It was 15,000. I made a full price offer, and they said there's multiple offers, so they're asking the highest and best. So I offered 25,000 because at that number it worked. I didn't want to lose out. I just wanted to get in the business and learn everything I could. So my offer got accepted. I bought it. Within a month, I had a renter in there at $800 a month. It was offering a great return. Obviously, I didn't get to keep any of the money. I would make it on the back end is basically how I structured this deal. So I rented it out for about 15 months, and at that time the tenant moved out, and I put it up for sale. It sold for $45,000 after paying the investor and paying him a 20% return. So he got $30,000 back total. I got to keep about $22,000, and that was because at the time I was paying him $800 a month. I paid him $800 a month for 15 months, so that paid down his principal to like 10 or 12,000, and then I paid the difference after my closing plus his interest, so it left me with about 22,000 profit. So that was my first deal, but like about halfway through that, I realized that I couldn't do what I wanted. I couldn't build a 20 unit rental portfolio the way I thought I could, based on just with the cash flows and whatnot. And I wanted to scale this as quick as I could while the prices were still cheap. So that I started really researching flipping houses, and I read up everything I could, and I actually took a course on it, a paid course, pretty expensive course. I did that, and the day I got back from that, I just started writing offers. I was writing 20, 30 a week, on everything, and it took me like 5 months to find my first flip, but I found one for 37,000. And like I said, I still own my rental that I just told you about. When I found this flip, I put it under contract for $37,500. It was what I thought worth like $95,000 to $100,000 when it was done, with a $30,000 rehab. So I bought it. I raised the money, which was something that they kind of taught me in the course, and so I raised the money and bought this deal, and continued to go rehab it. And about a month after I bought it, I found another house that I was wanting to buy for rental. It was a great deal, $25,000, the same city as my first one. I put it under contract, and it was all cash, and I was trying to buy that one. So my other one was up for sale right around the time I put this under contract. The timing worked out just great that the first rental closed, and I got my $22,000. And a couple weeks later, the bank finally came back. It was a foreclosure. They said, all right, we're ready to sell 2 weeks from now. So I was like, perfect. I just got $20,000. It was sitting in the bank. And I threw in another 4 or 5 that I had saved up, because I saved everything. So for my car wash, saved up some. And then I bought this other rental house, and I put someone in there for $830, $830 or $850 a month. Again, after all expenses and whatnot, it was about a 22% return a year on that rental house. And I just started scaling from there. My first flip, I finished. It was like a 2.5 month rehab. I sold it for $98,000, right around what I thought the value would be. I made somewhere between $10,000 and $14,000 off that house, and I just kept going from there. I put 2 more houses under contract, and just the momentum just went crazy. So, since then, like I said, I was 19 years old, and today I'm 26. I've built my portfolio up to, like I said, $600,000 equity, and I'm just continue to grow that. I pretty much doubled my business every year. On the low end, I've never not doubled it up to this point. So, and I'm looking to just continue to do that, and get into big apartment buildings, and I have a whole bunch of goals, and I'll go over those in different videos. But for now, that's who I am. Like I said, going forward, I'll be making videos on like how to analyze deals, how to find value, how to calculate your returns and all that, how to raise money. And like I said, a lot of these, you can do this with no money. So there's gonna be all these videos you can do with no money. So just follow me. Any questions you have, put them in the comments. I'll answer them. If need be, I'll make a video about, if you have a topic that you want to know about. I'll do that. So in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed the video, and like, subscribe, and check out my next one.